Hello, Dr. Song. Welcome to our final project. We have made it to the Vietnamese Buddhist temple, and we will be beginning our tour and analysis shortly. Okay, so now we are here at one of the statues. As you can see, the shoes are off. And here we have two examples of another Buddhist practice, which is mindful calligraphy. You can see here, we don't know what it says because it's in Vietnamese, but this is another way that Buddhist monks and practitioners will exercise mindfulness by quiet sitting and very carefully and mindfully using brush strokes as a manifestation of their mindfulness and of their peace and connection to the world.
On the grounds, monks will often practice mindful walking, and there are a lot of spaces to stop. Remember to breathe. Some are written in English and some are written in Vietnamese.
This temple is of the Mahayana tradition. While it includes both male and female monasteries for monks and nuns, it does not hold any social distinction between them and lay people. The temple may teach the Four Noble Truths in an observatory or knowledge-based way, but does not stick to them in a rigid one. Rather, it teaches that nirvana and samsara simply are, and that one's journey through nirvana is one's own to embody and reveal. Love and compassion are both instruments to actualize nirvana and products of nirvana. Quote, lay people believed they can choose their own forms of incarnated Buddha as deities to worship, and hence, to almost seamlessly embed their Buddhist practices with varying mundane concerns of their everyday life. Quote, Dr. Song. This temple also believes that karma has caused our current events and experience, and will again sow the seeds for that in the future. Quote, this philosophy reminds us that nothing exists independently. Understanding cause and effect helps us appreciate what we have, to love and forgive. At the same time, understanding the meaning of cause and effect helps us accept and let go of things that don't belong to us, leading to a more peaceful life. Cause and effect is not just a theory, but also a meaningful lesson for living a profound and fulfilling life. End quote. To Vien Dao Vien Monastery.
As you can see here, there is an Enzo circle, which was a motif that we saw in these signs all around the grounds. This is a motif that we touched on briefly in class, which is tied to Zen Buddhism and represents enlightenment. So based on all of the calligraphy signs that we saw, Ben and I chose to do a similar practice to tap into our own mindfulness. Our practice began by using black ink to dip into and create an Enzo circle. During this practice, we also tried to engage with the mindfulness of breathing. This reminded us of the 7 factors of awakening that we read. The first being, on whatever occasion the monk remains focused on the body in and of itself, ardent, alert, and mindful, putting aside greed and distress with reference to the world, on that occasion his mindfulness is steady and without lapse. When his mindfulness is steady and without lapse, then mindfulness as a factor for awakening becomes aroused. He develops it, and for him it goes to the culmination of its development. Through this practice, we were able to stay ardent by being engaged with every stroke that we made. We were alert by noticing the details, the ink, how it flowed, without hesitation and without tension. And we were, of course, able to be mindful by not staying distracted, but really focusing on the task at hand.
Although the temple we visited was of the Mahayana tradition, the calligraphy we practiced and learned about is common in the Zen tradition, which focuses on mindfulness. This meditative practice focuses on the present moment, moving each muscle with intention and care. In Zen Buddhist temples, every action they undertake, from eating to cleaning, to meditating is done with overwhelming manifestations of mindfulness.
How do you feel after doing the exercise?
I feel really good. It's nice to engage in such an ancient practice with the level of simplicity that's involved. It doesn't feel removed or alienating. It feels like very accessible, which is nice. And I also find it nice to cultivate my own mindfulness before and during and after. And the progression of that is a really nice experience for me. How about you?
Yeah, I think we both really took our time with it, and before I started, I kind of like set an intention and invited in the God that I believe in into the practice. This is really meaningful for me because I'm going to my master's for art therapy, and so this feels very intertwined with that. But the act of slowing down and breathing, like through every syllable, made me understand like this language in a different way. And I think I came into this with a level of anxiety that is diminished, and it's hard, like as a Westerner, to think that just like a moment, just by doing this practice, it will have this effect. I feel like we try to act like there's a bunch of steps to living a peaceful life, but this took, what, 10, 15 minutes?
Yeah, I saw a piece done by a master that said, there is no way to nirvana. Nirvana is the way. And that was really awesome. I feel like that speaks to what you said with the lack of steps. And just overall Buddhism has a sort of approach that is the path itself is the path almost. Like there is no path. Like just, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, that's relevant here.
Yeah, and I feel the same as we did when we went to that space, that like temple space, and we were sitting in front of this big statue and we were meditating, and it's just cool that you can get the same effect. Like this is kind of like meditation in action rather than like meditation in inaction. Like we were actively like withdrawing when we were shutting our eyes, and there are different ways of being. So I appreciate this practice because it sometimes, like restlessness, feels like you need to do something like with your body rather than retract. But at the same time, you're still in both like tempering your thoughts, your emotions, and slowing down.
Yeah, I agree. It reminds me of the Tao tradition's Wu Wei, like non-action, which I think is interesting. Obviously, because that's not necessarily a Buddhist theme, but I think the principle is definitely prevalent in both. So.
And they look really gorgeous.
Yeah, I think I might frame one of them.
Oh.
These are my paintings that I came up with. I started with this one, then made this one, then made this, then made this. As I was exercising my mindfulness and as I was meditating, the way came to me a lot. So I made this one and then I made this one. And because we're taking a comparative religious approach, I also thought the Christian phrase, the way, the truth, and the life, was really relevant here, especially obviously the way. So we have Tao, Satya, and Sheng Sheng. Obviously Tao being both Ru and Taoist, Satya being Hindu and Sanskrit, and then Sheng Sheng being, of course, Ru. So that was the overall theme of my paintings, and I thoroughly enjoyed this exercise, and I honestly think I will probably come back to it.
So these are the paintings. So I began this one, Be Here Now, and then Love and Devotion, then I did this guy, this one, and I landed here. And I feel like this kind of is a story of where I was going as I continued the practice. As I started to think about phrases that were meaningful, I got kind of overwhelmed by too many, so I just created one piece with all of them. And looking back at it, after I was done, I thought I lost the practice a little bit. So I thought, I came back and I was like, what's a great place where I can get centered and come back to some sort of truth. So I came up with this guy, which is surrender. And as I was creating, I just was very mindful about every stroke I was doing and backing up a little bit. I love this practice. Honestly, I think I might use it on potential clients in the future because I love the pull, the spirituality pull, the history pull, and how you're able to transform it to where you currently are. And yeah, I'm very grateful. I think Ben and I both had different experiences, but kind of similar as well. And we left kind of feeling lighter. This concludes our final assignment, exploring mindfulness in Buddhism. Thank you so much for watching.